Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm Rudy McLennan coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. Delegates of the warring military and paramilitary unit in Sudan are in Saudi Arabia for peace talks. Negotiations for an immediate ceasefire began in the port city of Jeddah on Saturday. Saudi Arabia and the United States have urged the Sudanese military and the Rapid Support Forces to actively seek means to declare a truce in the country. However, experts say that there could be a humanitarian peace agreement rather than an end to the conflict. The Sudanese army and the Rapid Support Forces are fighting to gain the upper hand in forming the new government. In a separate incident, the car of the Turkish ambassador to Sudan came under gunfire in the capital city Khartoum on Saturday. However, the military and the Rapid Support Forces blame each other for the attack on the envoy's vehicle. Pope Francis has said that the clerical sexual abuse crisis is particularly serious for the Church. Addressing members of the Pontifical Commission for the Protection of Minors in the Vatican on Friday, the Pontiff said abuse undermines the capability of the Church to fully embrace and bear witness to God's liberating presence. Pope Francis also said that although sins of omission appear to be less real, they are not minimal in terms of their depth or gravity. Pointing to the recent motu proprio Estis Lux Mundi, aimed at combating clerical abuse, the Holy Father said all the new rules enshrined in it are firmly in place. The Biden administration in the United States has withdrawn its threat to remove a Catholic hospital in Oklahoma from federal accreditation if it failed to extinguish the constantly burning candle near the tabernacle in its chapel. The Department of Health and Human Services, or HHS, told St. Francis Health Services on Friday the 5th of May that the chapel could have the burning candle and that there would be no action to strip the hospital of accreditation. This development was announced by law firm Becket Fund for Religious Liberty, which was representing the Catholic hospital system. The HHS took the decision to allow the candle in the chapel days after the Vice President and Senior Counsel at Becket, Lori Wyndham, sent a letter to the Secretary of the Department, Xavier Becerra, and other officials. The letter warned them that Becket was preparing to file a federal lawsuit on behalf of the hospital. The coronation of King Charles of Britain scripted history as it was attended by the Pope's representative and Catholic prelates for the first time since the English Reformation. Representing the Holy Father were Vatican Secretary of State Cardinal Pietro Parolin and Apostolic Nuncio Archbishop Miguel Buendia, who were present during the ceremony in Westminster Abbey in London on May the 6th. Over 2,000 guests and 90 heads of state took part in the solemn coronation. The highlight of the ceremony was the anointing with chrism and the placing of St. Edward's crown on the head of King Charles, while the congregation shouted, "God save the King." The other Catholic prelates who attended the solemn event were Cardinal Vincent Nichols of Westminster, Archbishop Mark O'Toole of Cardiff, and Bishop Hugh Gilbert of Aberdeen. Representing the Irish Catholic Church was Primate of All Ireland, Archbishop Eamon Martin of Armagh. Bishop Edward Burns of Dallas has prayed for the victims of a shooting that killed 9 people at a Texas shopping mall. 7 people were also injured in the shooting that took place on Saturday. The bishop said on Twitter that the Catholic community is praying for the families of those who lost their lives in the attack at Allen. The prelate also urged everyone to uphold the sanctity of life and put an end to violence. Among the victims of the shooting was a 5-year-old child. Texas Governor Greg Abbott described the attack as an unspeakable tragedy. He also joined a community vigil to pay tribute to those who were killed. Police have named 33-year-old Mauricio Garcia from Dallas as the suspect in the shooting. He was neutralized by officers who rushed to the crime scene. Thousands of men in more than 40 countries took to the streets on Saturday, May the 6th, to pray the rosary publicly. The men's rosary was held across hundreds of cities, with men gathering together with statues of the Virgin and religious banners to pray for the conversion of the world. The initiative was held in various cities in Latin American nations such as Venezuela, Colombia, Chile, Guatemala and Paraguay. Asia was represented by the Philippines and Indonesia. The prayer initiative, which began in Poland, became a big sensation and quickly spread to Ireland and other countries on 5 continents. A number of LGBT activists have expressed outrage over recent comments made by the Australian Prime Minister. In an interview with British journalist Piers Morgan, Anthony Albanese defined woman in accordance with the term's conventional biological meaning. When asked to define the word woman, the leader of Australia's centre-left Labour Party said a woman is an adult female. Despite his dislike of confrontation on matters of culture, Albanese's response sparked heated debate on the social media platform. For the first time in 60 years, the head of the Syriac Orthodox Church has visited the Holy Land. Accompanied by a delegation of archbishops and priests, Mora Frem II visited sacred sites in Israel and Palestinian territory on the 4th of May. The Patriarch was given a rousing reception at the Patriarchal Monastery of St. Mark in Jerusalem by the monks and Syriac Christians. He led a prayer service in the chapel, invoking the intercession of the Blessed Virgin, and imparted his blessing to the congregation. Delegates of various churches in the Holy Land and the Patriarchal Vicar for Jerusalem, Jordan and the Holy Land, Archbishop Antimos Yakub, welcomed Mora Frem at the Khalil Gate in the city. Addressing the Patriarch and his delegation, the Metropolitan said the visit scripted history. The head of the Syriac Orthodox Church also visited the Church of the Resurrection and prayed at the tomb where the body of Jesus was placed. This year's Milton Friedman Prize for Advancing Liberty will be awarded to jailed Hong Kong entrepreneur and democracy activist Jimmy Lai. This prize is a biennial award given to an individual or group who has made a big contribution to promoting civil liberty. The chief executive of the Cato Institute, Peter Gutler, said that they were honoured and humbled to present their highest award to Mr. Lai. He said the activist was chosen because he selflessly sacrificed his own freedom to fight against the authoritarian government of China. Jimmy Lai has become a powerful symbol of democratic rights, including free speech and freedom of the press. His clashes with the Beijing-controlled Hong Kong authorities intensified after the implementation of a national security law in July in 2020. It expanded the suppression of civil liberties and cracked down on activists and journalists. A Hong Kong court sentenced Mr. Lai to 5 years in jail on charges of undermining national security. His trial is scheduled for September this year. A blasphemous portrayal of Jesus in an artwork at the European Parliament has sparked outrage among Conservative politicians. The painting shows Jesus surrounded by homosexuals while delivering the Sermon on the Mount. It was part of the photo expo by Swedish artist Elisabeth Olsson at the Parliament building in the Belgian capital Brussels. She justified the portrayal by saying it was an attempt to portray Christ as being supportive of the rights of homosexuals. Italian, Spanish and Polish lawmakers said the portrayal was blasphemous. Deputy Prime Minister of Italy, Matteo Salvini, said on Facebook that it was not at all art, but a vulgar and disrespectful portrayal. Spanish MP Jorge Buxade denounced the painting as disgusting. 2 Nigerian Catholic prelates who were kidnapped on April the 29th have been released. Father Chochos Kunav and Father Raphael Ogigba of the Diocese of Wari were released unharmed. This was announced by Father Okereke Kingsley Kitsito, who is the Delegate Superior of the Secular Institute of the Schoenstatt Fathers. In the letter, Father Kitsito thanked the faithful for their concerns and their prayers. Kidnappings and killings are common in the West African nation. According to Nigerian non-government organisation Inter-Society, jihadist extremists have killed more than 50,000 Christians in Nigeria since 2010. Since January this year, more than 1,000 Christians have been killed in the country. An organisation monitoring Christian persecution is raising concerns about how artificial intelligence, or AI, could hurt persecuted Christians as demands for caution over the technology become louder. President David Curry of Global Christian Relief expressed concerns over artificial intelligence in an interview with CBN's Faithwire. He expressed concern about the use of deepfakes, or videos that appear to reveal offences or acts that never occurred. Curry said that such images, for which artificial intelligence is increasingly being used to make look plausible, may pose particular threats to the suffering church. Separately, a prominent AI researcher has said that the technology is developing at a scary rate. Former Google researcher Geoffrey Hinton said that AI should not expand beyond people's ability to control it. He said software such as the GPT chatbot system can eclipse a person in the amount of general knowledge it has. The World Council of Churches has expressed shock and grief over the attack on aid vehicles in South Sudan. WCC General Secretary Reverend Dr. Jerry Pillay condemned the attacks on aid workers and civilians in a pastoral letter addressed to the churches of South Sudan and the Norwegian Church Aid. Aid vehicles came under attack in the eastern Equatoria region of South Sudan. Reverend Pillay said 7 local staff attending a peace conference were reportedly killed in the country. He said the fact that the victims were on a humanitarian mission made this tragedy even more painful. This incident occurs against the background of several recent violent attacks, killings, and increased intercommunal conflict in various parts of South Sudan. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us again tomorrow for the latest news. But remember, you can always check out swnews.org for more updates. In the meantime, Shalom.